In today's episode, I will take you through the different steps on how to create custom attributes leveraging the custom attributes importing function under Workspace one. And in today's use case, we will be performing a live demonstration on how to create specific custom attributes for Android device fleet. And how we actually add some data to actually see that specific custom attribute into the console. So to give you a bit of context here, we do have a number of customers, especially on transport logistics, for example, who may want to see some specific value on the Workspace ONE console. It could be a value which has nothing to do with the device. Let's take the context of tablets on the trucks, for example. How do you identify that tablet? We may want to use a value which is more understandable by the business. In this case, the business would be saying something like, hey, how can I get my registration number of the truck into Workspace ONE console? So when the truck driver make a phone call to the help desk could potentially type the truck number within our console and see the device showing straight away without having to ask some a difficult number like serial number or IMEI number to the end user. So really to improve that end user experience. Now, the reason I'm doing that little video is I've had to do that for a customer, and I thought it's not that it's not really well explained, but that it's kind of a little bit difficult without more guidance. This is on the screen. You can see this is the official documentation for custom attribute importing in Workspace ONE. In this case, you would see that the first step is to create the custom attribute in our case. And the third step we're going to be using will be to inject the data within Workspace ONE. So we will have two templates to create here. And I have actually prepared those templates for you. So first of all, I will take you through to Workspace ONE console. And in this case, we will do the test with two devices. In this case, we're using a Zebra TC57 and an Honeywell CT40, which are both rugged scanner device for industry like transport logistics, for example. The first things I'd like to show you is to identify where is a custom attribute under the console. So when you're in Workspace ONE, you're going to Device, List View, and you're going to go to Provisioning. And in Provisioning, you will see Custom Attribute here. So if you click now on the List View of Custom Attribute, you will be able to see all the different existing custom attribute that we're leveraging, especially for those manufacturers like Honeywell and Zebra, to be able to pull some information like the build number, some specific data regarding the device versioning and the UUID, or especially to take the things like specific model and what manufacturer, etc. Things we would not be able to get through normal APIs. So in this case, what we need to do is, first of all, remember, we need to create that custom attribute. In this case, we're going to take the example of our truck registration number. And you would imagine that obviously this doesn't exist as a value on the device detail. So we're going to create it. So in this case, we're going to click the little add button, and we're going to do what we call the batch import automation. So in this case, I'm going to import that file. So remember, if you look at the doc here, you've got the three different types of importation. First of all, we are going to create the custom attribute, and the third option we're going to using, not this one, but we're going to using inject the data, what we call the xref, cross xref value. Basically, we're going to identify what device it is, and we're going to associate that value. Now, you would imagine that we have to get that value somewhere. And in this case, we would imagine that the customer would have a record of what tablet has been put into a truck, and would have a spreadsheet that they would provide to the IT to be able to inject those data within Workspace ONE. So coming back to our creation of the custom attributes. So in this case, before going into the data, I'm going to show you, so this this is a template that you can find as well in the console here. So if you look at download template for this batch, so you can get it for yourself, or you can feel free to copy the one that you can see on the screen right now. And in this case, this is the exact template to create a custom attribute, what we call track reg value. Its description will be track registration value, and the application name will be, basically that's the file which gonna be copied onto the device and have a copy of that track number as well on the device. That's where we're gonna pull this information. Then you have those values are the different use case for custom attribute. In our case, the most important is the last one, show device grid. So the value here, you can put just a random number. So please follow this format just in case. So we've got that a file ready. So I'm gonna go back into Workspace 1 to create that custom attribute. I'm gonna call it track rego number, CA for custom attribute. And we will be using the first option, custom attribute. And I'm gonna get that file. So remember, the file is track reg CA for track rego custom attribute. So I'm gonna select that one, open it, and I'm gonna import it. So straight away, what you're gonna see is in the custom attribute section, if you go at the very bottom, you can see that you've got track reg value. Okay. So one of the things I want you to check is please edit that track value. And what you need to do is you need to make sure you tick that box. So somehow the template was supposed to put that value to 1, but it didn't. So we don't want it to be persistent. We will leave it as a use as a lookup value, because the good thing is you can update as tablet may move from a track to another. The customer might give you a new list, so you can keep updating that list to get the latest data. It will automatically update the different value. But in this case, remember, we're only creating the custom attribute. So we're just gonna save it. So this will be able for us to use that value as a device-friendly name. So IT can automatically search a device depending on the track registration number. So once I'm done with that, I've done this setting. So great, we've got the setting ready. Before we inject some data, what I'm gonna be doing, I will show you how we're gonna get that number to appear into the device name here, because the idea is to get that info to be able to search the device with this track number instead of serial number and all the other value you may find within Workspace 1. So in this case, you go in Group and Settings, All Settings, Device and User, General, and Friendly Name. Know you're in friendly name, make sure you override, and you can obviously change as what you want. But in this case, we want the new value that we just created, which is at the very bottom. You see that that value will appear. That's after we tick the look as a value, and you're gonna be showing. So what I want is the device model, the device serial number, last 4 digits, and the track rego number. So that's our standard. So in this case, I'm gonna click Save, and what happened is now we've got this value, so there's no data here, so the device won't get that value yet. So what we're gonna be doing now is we're gonna jump onto the next step, which is injecting the data. So let's say you've got your list of devices. I've created a specific file for this. So this is the third, remember here, if I go back to custom attribute importing, we will be at this level now. We need to inject the data. So the first xref type will be the number we're using. So in this case, we're gonna leverage the serial number of the device. So if I go back to my file here, this is my 2 devices I showed you before. The first one is my Honeywell. The second one is my Zebra. I've copy pasted the serial number. And on the right-hand side here, this is gonna be my track rego. So let's say I'm just gonna change the number. And I'm gonna put this one to 777. Okay, so these are my track values. So you would imagine that those values can be copy paste from the client. The customer may have those data, So it would give it to you for you to inject into Workspace ONE. So you would see that in the file that we are calling the truck reg CA XML, and the custom attribute name is truck reg value. Okay, so it's very important to respect that format. So I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to go back to Workspace ONE and I'm going to import that data. So we call it truck rego data on the date of 28/04/2020. Okay. And in this case, don't forget this is the device custom attribute value. So this is values for the data. Okay. And we're going to be choosing the file now. So in this case, it is the truck reg cross reference. So that's for the cross reference. And I can inject. So right now we've got the data injecting into the device. Obviously, before it appears on the device, what's going to happen is there is a device sync which is required. So in this case, I'm going to back to the device. And we're going back to the device view. And guess what? It's actually even faster than I thought. You see here, the device value has automatically been updated to cube 7777, and the other one, which is our annual, to cube 444. So basically now, if you know the truck number, if you get a phone call from a truck driver and you say, hey, my registration is cube 7777, you can do a search. And out of thousands of devices, you will get the right device, and you can start troubleshooting that device. So this is something which is often required in our mission critical device. And I thought it was very valuable for me today to do a video. I hope this was very helpful. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a nice day. Thank you.